Have you ever participated in a trust fall? To where one person is blindfolded and then requested to fall back into the hopeful arms of his or her friends to be caught. In this activity, it's the picture of extreme trust in those around you. It would be dulling your own senses so that you could actually portray your knowledge that someone was going to be there to catch you when you fall. In much the same way, we find in Job chapter 18 and 19 that Job expresses his ultimate trust in the Lord, that he believes that he has a Redeemer who is going to catch him in a sense, no matter everything that has happened in this temporary earthly life. We begin Job 18 with Bildad the Shuhite, who steps up once again to deliver an address to Job, very strong and very arrogant and very hurtful words that he expresses. Notice what he says at the very beginning. He says in verse 3, "Why are we regarded as beasts, as stupid in your eyes, O you who tear yourself in anger? For your sake is the earth to be abandoned, or the rock to be moved from its place." He pretty much states, Job, you are showing by your own actions that you're guilty. You're tearing yourself. You've torn your clothes. You've acted like a foolish man. You've cursed and you've cried out. And so you're showing us that you actually are guilty of what God is inflicting upon you. And then he moves into a declaration through the end of this chapter of the wicked and how their death would actually take place. Look at verse 5. It says, "Indeed, the light of the wicked goes out, and the flame of his fire gives no light. The light in his tent is darkened, and his lamp goes out above him." It means the wicked, pointing to Job. He's saying, Job, your light will go out. Job, you will finally get what you deserve, what's coming to you. He explains this personification of death in the following verses. In verse 10, "A noose for him is hidden in the ground, a trap for him on the path." Verse 12, "His strength is famished, and calamity is ready at his side. His skin is devoured by disease. The firstborn of death devours his limbs." Verse 17, "Memory of him perishes from the earth, and he has no name abroad." Verse 19, "He has no offspring or posterity among his people, nor any survivor where he sojourned." Verse 21, "Surely such are the dwellings of the wicked, and this is the place of him who does not know God." So Bildad, again, now more arrogant, more forceful than his previous conversation with Job. Now Bildad is saying, Job, you are going to get what's coming to you. You, the wicked, are going to answer for what you've done wrong. Job then responds. Now remember, in this trust fall sequence, Job is filled with a scenario where everything is against him, and yet he's going to exercise his extreme trust in the Redeemer. Notice what Job says. Chapter 19, verse 2, "How long will you torment me and crush me with words? These 10 times you have insulted me. You are not ashamed to wrong me." Verse 5, "If indeed you vaunt yourself against me and prove my disgrace to me, know then that God has wronged me and has closed his net around me." He says, if you really do believe that God has brought this on me because of some sin that I've done, then understand that God is the one that has wronged me because I've not done anything. He asserts again his blamelessness before God. You see, as we've read throughout Job, we've seen these truths of God misapplied in his life. And so Job cries out. The next verses 7 through 22, Job cries out about the state of his life. He discusses how his wife wouldn't even look at him and touch him. That young children were ashamed, despised him and would speak against him. He talks about his relatives and his intimate friends who have failed him and forgotten him. Job's life now turned upside down by the trials that he has had to go through. He has nothing to cling to, nothing to trust in. Every person has betrayed him. And yet, Job comes to the end of chapter 19, and this is where we see his trust fall. He says in verse 23, "Oh, that my words were written. Oh, that they were inscribed in a book, that when an iron stylus and lead, they were engraved in the rock forever." Job doesn't realize that these words would actually be written and engraved forever. And yet here's the message he proclaims. Verse 25, "As for me, I know." Now pause for just a moment. When the world is turned upside down, or at least personally, when your world is turned upside down, and you don't know what's going on, or you don't understand who you can trust, and you don't know what the next step is going to bring, what do you ultimately cling to? What do you ultimately know? What is the one thing that you can trust regardless of everything else around you? If you were to have a blindfold on your eyes right now and you could not see anything around you spiritually, what would you cling to? This is what Job says. "As for me, I know that my Redeemer lives." My Goel lives. My advocate, the vindicator of my life, lives. "And at the last, he will take his stand on the earth. Even after my skin is destroyed, yet from my flesh I shall see God." He then says, my Redeemer is God. The very one that you are saying is having wrath upon me because of something sinful that I've done. No, he is actually my Redeemer. He will stand and he will declare that I have done nothing against him in this way. I have not committed any sin in order to receive this type of punishment from God. Again, Job is not declaring innocence as if he was not a sinner. He's declaring a righteousness of God that he has not done anything overtly or even secretly to deserve this type of wrath from God as punishment. And so understand here, Job is saying the very God that you say you serve, Bildad, the very God that you say you're speaking for, is the one who's going to stand in my defense one day. He's the one that I'm putting my trust in. He will stand at the last. And then he says, "Whom I myself shall behold, and whom my eyes will see, and not another. My heart faints within me." Job says, not only do I believe he is going to stand, but I believe I'm going to see him. This world right now, as you just look around, everything has turned upside down for us. And that's because of the sin nature that we have as sinful, wretched creatures, and the sin that runs rampant throughout this world. And yet our hope and our trust is clinging to Jesus Christ, our Redeemer. Just as you would participate in a trust fall, who are you trusting in? Who do you believe is going to catch you? It will not be your money. It will not be your finances. It will not be your house or your possessions. It will not even be your friends or family members. The only one who has the power and is willing to stretch the hand out and hold you in the midst of uncertainty is God himself. And the way that he did that is by stretching his arms out on the cross, dying for you. And Jesus cried out, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." And then finally would cry out to Telestai, "It is finished." And so while you right now may be trying to build up your own kingdom, that kingdom will not stand. You may be trying to build your own security in this life based on your own righteousness. It will not stand. You will fall. And yet we have the God, the one who is over all things, that holds us, that protects us, that secures us if we are in Christ truly. And so Job declares our declaration, "I know that my Redeemer lives." I know that my Redeemer is the one who lived, died, was buried, and rose again, and nothing takes away his power. And so just as Bildad accused Job and said, "Death awaits you, and this is what you can look forward to," Job says, no. No matter what you say, no matter what curse you put on me, no matter what this world says, and even when my eyes are blinded and covered by the things of this world, and I don't know how to believe or what to believe because of my feelings, I can know this, that my Redeemer lives. And so, faith family, brother, sister, no matter what's going on right now, no matter what you're facing, my prayer is that you would have this knowledge, this belief, this trust that Jesus Christ lives and reigns forever. And because of that, we can live. Because he lives, I can face tomorrow. Let that be our anthem. Let that be our cry. I love you. I'm praying for you. Stakes in the ground.